Hi, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in the game Fit to Print, which is a game about animals putting together a newspaper. This is a tile placement game where you're gathering tiles from the middle of the table and putting them on your newspaper over 3 rounds. So in the first round, every round, you will completely refresh your newspaper. It's like you're releasing a new day's newspaper 3 days in a row. And there's a bunch of tile placement rules where you can place certain tiles next to other tiles. Certain tiles score more points off of other tiles. Fun tile placement game with a really interesting twist that works with a theme, which is two elements here. One, the gathering of tiles is in real time. So when you pick up a tile, a timer starts, and then players just go and they pick up tiles, they look at them, and they must look at them over their desk. So you must pull the tile back from the middle of the table, pull it over to your desk, look at it, and then decide, do I want to keep it, in which case you put it on your desk, or do I want to put it back? Do I not want this ad or photo or article in today's newspaper? And you put it back face up. So you add this information to all players. Other players see this information that you've revealed. That's part of it. That's the real-time part, or half of the real-time part. The other half of it, and this is the big twist that I think is super, super clever in this game, is that you cannot start putting pieces in your newspaper until you decide you are done gathering tiles. So for the first part of any real-time phase of this game, you are gathering the tiles together and putting them on your desk. You can see this player has a tile right here. They have this tile on their desk. They're saving this to put into their newspaper later, but they can't put it there yet. And really, this photo isn't completely accurate because if they're gathering tile, oh, well, it might be accurate. But picture this being blank. So there's nothing here yet. You're just gathering tiles on your desk without knowing, this is the big part of it, without knowing whether or not those tiles fit together or how they fit together. And you are penalized if you have extra tiles left over on your desk. This is such a clever spatial puzzle here, because think about this. In most tile placement games, when you're putting tiles like in a grid or on a confined space, you can check the size of it. You can see, okay, I think this will fit. I'm putting one tile at a time here. I'm adding tiles one after another. I know they fit. I know these will fit. Why would I get a tile that doesn't fit? In Fit to Print, you are gathering a bunch of stories as fast as you can that you think will work together, both in terms of how they'll fit on your mat and how they'll fit in relation to each other on the mat. But you don't really know because you can't put them on your mat until you have stopped gathering tiles. So there were, as I looked around the table of the game that I played with, I think 5 other players, it's all simultaneous, so you can play with a bunch of players. There were rounds where some players ended the round with a big stack of stories on their desk. A lot of penalty points there, but the compensation is that you do get to carry those stories over to the next round. There were also players like myself who had an empty desk and had all their stories out here and a lot of empty space, which is also a penalty. You don't want empty space in your newspaper. So it's a really interesting mental puzzle to combine those two elements of how many tiles do I need as I'm gathering them in real time to make sure that they can all fit onto my grid here. You could probably count the cells of these tiles. Like I could say, as I'm gathering, I could say, okay, 4. Like I could say, I could do the math. I could add up exactly how many tiles this is. It's probably around 100 cells on here. I could say this is 4. Okay, and then so I have 96 left. If I get another big block that I know that that's 6 more. So I could do that math as I go. But you still don't know how they'll fit together in the different shapes. You can't calculate that in advance. You can kind of think about it a little bit, but you're gathering the tiles and putting them on your desk. It's hard to keep track of. So the game really does add to this frantic theme of gathering stories for your newspaper and then hoping that they fit, hoping that you don't have too many, or far too few. It was very rare that I saw a player have exactly the right amount in the game that we played. But I think that's such an interesting spatial puzzle to separate the tile gathering from seeing how they actually fit on your player mat. Those are my thoughts on Fit to Print. That's my favorite mechanism in Fit to Print. And if you can think of another game that does this, let me know in the comments. Or if you have a different favorite mechanism in Fit to Print, I'd love to hear about that in the comments as well. Thanks.